In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, peace be upon you. Many people have come to realize that the brainwashing is carried out by the mainstream media. So now social media is being used to brainwash and confuse the people. For instance, I've found out that attractive young people are being used to promote veganism in the social media, including YouTube. And young girls promote makeup and face shaving. At this point, I just want to make a mention of face shaving. It actually completely ruins a girl's facial skin. You must never ever do that, and you must explain to your daughters that they must never do such a thing. Their skin will become rough and bluish coloured. This is promoted intentionally to very young schoolgirls to ruin their pretty faces, as homosexuals who hate women are in positions of power. For instance, Bush, Obama, Cameron, they have all homosexual tendencies, and they are jealous of pretty girls and want to ruin their faces because they can never be girls themselves. So organizations fund these advertising campaigns. But let's get back to the main topic. I recently watched a video promoting the story that Batan or Pashtun are one of the lost tribes of Israel. This might be true and it might be false, but I don't like the agenda behind it. The agenda is to divide and conquer. And this technique was used in Rwanda when tribes were labelled Tutsi and Hutu in Rwanda by the gutter elite European Gog and Magog anti-Christians. In Islam we call them Yajuj and Majuj. Now, talking about Rwanda, Mahmoud Mamdani has written a book about what happened in Rwanda, the genocide there, and that it was a result of colonialism. And I've highlighted a paragraph that I'm going to read for you. Rejecting easy explanations of the genocide as a mysterious evil force that was bizarrely unleashed, one of African's best-known intellectuals situates the tragedy in its proper context. He coaxes to the surface the historical, geographical and political forces that made it possible for so many Hutu to turn so brutally on their neighbours. He finds answers in the nature of political identities generated during colonialism, in the failures of the nationalist revolution to transcend these identities, and in the regional demographic and political currents that reach well beyond Rwanda. In so doing, Mahmoud Mamdani usefully broadens understandings of citizenship and political identity in the post-colonial Africa. And I would also like to add at this point that I do remember reading newspaper articles how the people that were being attacked, whether they were Hutus or Tutsis, were seeking refuge with the Muslims because the Muslims did not believe, and according to the Quran we do not believe one is a better human being to the other. In the Quran it clearly states that the only people who are better than others are those that excel in good deeds. So now the Gota elite, Gog and Magog, or Yajuj Majuj anti-Christians, are at it again. They're trying to divide and conquer, trying to show the Afghan people they are high class and the Pakistanis are low class to generate friction. But I appeal to the Afghan people, do not be fooled. They cannot be trusted. They will stab you in the back irrespective of how much you be nice to them or they stroke your ego. And Hamid Karzai is a puppet of America and the Western Gota elite, Yajuj Majuj Shaitani Khanzir, as I like to refer to them. Now, as I said, Hamid Karzai is an American puppet and the Western Gota elite, Yajuj Majuj Shaitani Khanzir. Because why doesn't he be honest? Why doesn't he admit and that the Yajuj Majuj want to take over Afghanistan and Pakistan? Now, an American Secret Service ex-employee even threatened Pakistan. He said, "I'm in the business of defining threats and I am more worried about Pakistan collapsing than Afghanistan." And you can see him saying that in the video that I've shown the link for at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, the Afghan people never supported this prostitute of the Shaitani Khanzir, known as Karzai, but I think Karzai wants to take over Pakistan and the US have promised him Pakistan. Now, during the Crusades, the Crusaders tried to place a puppet leader in Constantinople. If you read history, you will learn about this. But what happened was the puppet leader was murdered the very next day. So the Crusaders failed in replacing Constantine. Now, every time the Shaitani Khanzir, Gog and Magog anti-Christians tried to place a puppet leader in power, he must be arrested straight away. The way in Constantinople the people got rid of the puppet leader straight away. This is what people need to do in a country. They need to get rid of that person straight away. This is the way history teaches us to overcome the Shaitani Khanzir Western Gota elite. I also must say at this point that I have actually received a sign from Allah when I went to Mecca in 2008 that the Pakistanis and Afghan people will work together constructively to support Imam Mahdi, and even the Indian Muslims will support Imam Mahdi, but you must always try to do the right thing as Muslim people trying to obey the commands of Allah. We must be just, we must help others, we must care about other people, and we must remember who the enemy is. Now, that doesn't mean that we do preemptive strikes on Gog and Magog, the Antichrist people. It means that we're wary of them and just keep away from them and be aware of their divide and conquer policies. In that way we would be united against the Shaitani Khanzir. They attack us in many ways via the media, via our differences. They also fund mercenary terrorists that kill innocent people. So we must be very wary of them and keep them out of our countries if we can. I want to express how disappointed I am with the gutter elite in India who think they are being clever, selling out their own community. Pakistan and the Pakistani people are the brothers and sisters of the Indian people. My ancestors themselves were Hindu, and I'm proud of those roots. Alhamdulillah that they became Muslim, but that didn't suit others, and you know, that doesn't change the fact that we're brothers and sisters, and that we, you know, one minute the Gog and Magog will attack the Pakistani Muslims, and the next minute they will attack the Indians. And in fact, I see their attacks against the verbal attacks, calling India the rape capital of the world, and various other derogatory things. So, India, you need to be united with Pakistan against the Israeli Zionists, and who are also part of the Gog and Magog, especially the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. And remember, those who dig pits for others will fall into them themselves. So I pray that Allah guides you all and protects you and gives you peace and all of the below. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, Khuda Hafiz.